Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm going to be talking about something today, which I haven't really talked about. But yeah, something that I used to do back at school. Something I got into. Was script writing. I was like writing down all these scripts. That's actually how I got into radio. Was like writing down the script. So yeah, and then sending it to Louis, who was our boss at that time. So yep. So yeah, um, and it's something that I've kind of fallen out of. I don't know why I just kind of fell out of doing it, and then but recently I've kind of got back into it. So today I'm going to be talking about two things I've been working on. So yep, the first one I'm going to talk about, is one that I think is right now the better one. So yeah, it's one that I like. Right now. So yep. So this was based on a joke that I heard, and I found it to be really funny. So the joke is, there's a guy, and he goes to Weight Watchers, and he steps on the scales, and he's being weighed, and the person says, and the lady says, sorry, um, congratulations, sir, you've lost £10, and she goes, yeah, that's well done, and he goes, hold on a second, he says, why are you saying congratulations? He says, I've lost £10. Why are you saying congratulations? And she says, because it's a fantastic achievement, you know. It's really well done. She says, you should be proud of it. She says, you're not happy about this. And he goes, happy? He says, of course I'm not happy. Why on earth would I be happy? He says, I've lost a tenner. So what I've done is I've taken that and I've extended it out, and I've also given the characters names, because you'll notice the characters don't have names; they're just referred to as the man and the lady. So what I've done is I've given the characters names. I've given the characters names. So the man, he's called Jimmy, and then the lady, she's called Margaret. So yep. So it's exactly the same thing. He's at Weight Watchers. That's the thing I'm working on. Is coming up with a name that, because obviously you can't say Weight Watchers, for copyright reasons. You can't say Weight Watchers. It's got to be something else. So yeah, for those who watch Little Britain, you'll notice they call it Fat Fighters. They don't call it Weight Watchers because they can't call it Weight Watchers, but it's Weight Watchers, if that makes sense. So yep. But anyway, so he's there. So Jimmy's there, and he steps on the scales. And Margaret's weighing him up, and she says, Congratulations, Jimmy. You've lost £10. That's really well done." And then she goes, "Can we have a round of applause for Jimmy?" And everybody starts clapping. That's really well done. That's fantastic. Yeah. Um. The bit where like she says to everybody, "Can we have a round of applause for Jimmy?" And then everybody starts clapping. That's not part of the original joke. That's something that I've added to it. I just think it kind of adds a little bit more humour to it. So yep. And then he goes, hold the bus, hold on. He says, I've lost £10. He says, why you getting everybody to clap? He says, congratulations, why you getting everybody to clap? He says, getting everybody to clap like that and everything. He says, I've lost £10. And she says, well, yes, Jimmy. She says, it's a fantastic achievement. You've lost £10. It's a fantastic achievement, Jimmy. He says, it's a fantastic achievement. And she goes, you're not happy about this, Jimmy? And he goes, happy, Margaret? He says, of course I'm not happy, Margaret. He says, I've lost a tenner. So that's where the original joke ends. So I've added a little bit more to it. And Margaret goes, no, Jimmy, you've not lost a tenner. You've lost £10. And he goes, that's what I'm saying to you, Margaret. This bit, I'm currently working on. There is like a swear word in it. It's only minor. But yep. But he goes, you take the piss. He goes, you take the piss, Margaret love. He goes, um, he says, £10 is a tenner. He says, I've lost a tenner. He said, you're saying congratulations, you're getting everybody to clap and everything like that. He goes, I've lost a tenner. Yeah. And then, and then Margaret goes, you've lost £10 as in weight, Jimmy. And then Jimmy goes, oh, okay. And then he just sits back down again. He's like, okay, that's fine. And then he just sits back down again, and then that's the end of it. So that's the first one. As I say, this is just currently first drafts. This isn't anything right now. Like, this isn't the final draft. This is only the first draft right now. As you heard me say, like, I'm currently taking stuff out, putting stuff in. So yeah, at the moment, the second one, it's still good. It's a little bit shorter, but it's still good. So yep. Then this one was based on a story, on a real life story. So me and my dad and my dad's girlfriend, we went out to we went out to a restaurant recently, and there was a song that played on the radio. I think it was Rio by Duran Duran, and my dad just started dancing at the table. And me and my dad's girlfriend are just looking at each other, thinking, "What is he doing?" You know. And again, so like I kind of took the inspiration from that to write this one. So there's four friends. Okay, these characters don't have names. I'm not giving these characters names. They don't really need names. So yep. But it's like there's four friends. They go out to a restaurant, and so it's like they walk in. The waitress says, "Hi, how many on your table?" Just normally would at a normal restaurant, and they go four. Table for four, please. So yep, and then they get showed to the table. They sit down, and I felt that, and then the song, starts playing, on radio, and one of the people, just starts dancing. I should maybe say, I did leave it this part, but it's a fancy restaurant, so it's like it's something you don't do at fancy restaurants is dance at the table. So like yeah, and he's just there and he's having a little dance at the table, to the song that's played on the system. So yep, and so it's like everybody's just staring at him. Everybody at the tables, everybody is just like kind of staring at him, thinking, "What is he doing?" You know. And then the other three people, they get up and they move to a different table, and they just say to the waitress, "We'll not wait him." And then so it's like yeah, and that's the kind of joke. That's the kind of like the kind of catchphrase, from like the sketch, is we'll not wait him. You know, so it's like they just get up and move to a different table, and they just say to the waitress, we're not with him." So yep, and then everybody just kind of goes back to normal, and then the guy's just sitting there confused. So yeah, and then that's where the sketch ends. So yep, so yeah, so that's a few things that I've been working on. Just what I would tell you a wee bit about it. So yep, so yeah, and yeah,